We were not talking about village business. We're talking about wooden nickels.
Well, this is the place to find them. We keep our meeting under 2.
Huge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone.
Walsh.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Childers.
Here.
Wolfersberger.
Here.
Cummings.
Here.
Rath.
Here.
Page.
Here. All right. We failed at the last meeting to appoint, when we did our appointments, to appoint the chair of the festival commission. Since appointments are on the agenda, can I appoint somebody?
You're the mayor.
Okay, I'm appointing this young lady right back there fiddling with her stuff. The chair of the festival commission, Dora Mayberry.
Congratulations. Right there.
Thank you.
Does that need a vote or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve that?
So move.
Second.
Ayes and nays is fine.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Nora.
Public comment, I don't see anybody here unless we got something you want to say. Okay. Consent agenda, we have our regular trustee minutes from April 14th, executive session minutes from April 14th. And bills in the amount of $63,287.99. Are there any comments or discussion about the bills or the agenda minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
Walsh.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Childers.
Yes.
Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Cummings.
Yes.
Rath.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Awesome. New business, consideration and possible approval of a resolution creating a fund balance policy. We've discussed this at least 2 meetings now, and I think we kind of had a consensus last meeting about what that's looks like, and Joe has put that into written form.
The general fund has the cap on the high end, and so the debt service fund. The other funds referred to as special revenue funds have a floor. And that is it. It's a real simple fund or a simple policy, but it'll be good for us to use because we're kind of doing it already to a large part, but it'll satisfy the auditors too. So.
Yep. That's the important part. Is there any discussion on the further discussion on the fund? Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the resolution of creating a fund balance policy. I'll second.
Peters.
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
All right, next item, new business, consideration and possible approval of reissuing an RFP for the sale redevelopment of 407 South Main Street, the former Baptist church. Joe, do you want to kind of update us on what's happened since we put the sign?
So we've gotten some interest but not really clear cut what they would use the structure for. But in the past, last year exactly, we issued this RFP with some slight variations. We got no responses. Since we have about 3 or 4 people that probably would submit something this time, I'm pretty confident. I believe if we organize it a little bit better, it'll make things a little bit more efficient, and you can review all the proposals all at once rather than an offer trickling in here and there. And just tighten up the process so that we could hopefully figure this out.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say this will also include 3 open houses, which would be the only time that it would be showed and they're listed there in the RFP, and then it would close June 30th is what this indicates. So this is very similar to what was issued last year.
What's the advantage of doing an RFP over just listening with a bidder?
We gotta pay the realtor commission the first thing. The second thing is, like I said, you could have all these different miscellaneous offers trickle in. And it prolongs the process, or it makes the process more unorganized and harder to deal with. Or then this one, if there's a typical bidding process, is that everybody, the public, this will be advertised. The public all has the same opportunity, the same rules, they have to submit it by a deadline. And it's, instead of just one this week, one next week, you have all 5 all at once. It's just a little bit cleaner.
And we would have the ability, if all of them fell short of our expectation,
You can reject all of them. Okay. Yeah, and you don't have to give it to the highest bidder either. You can choose whatever, what you want to do.
Mhm.
So,
I'm particularly like the criteria and requirements. That's gonna focus in on things that are gonna hopefully benefit the area where it is.
well, yes, and I think it's important for you all. You don't have to do this just because I'm recommending it, but I think that you would be really looking out for the best interest of the village to really drill down on respondents to tell you exactly what they want to do with this and commit them to it. I have a lot of concerns, especially if the structure remains standing, that if you sell it to somebody with loose expectations, that it'll turn into a nuisance later on. But that's just my recommendation. You do what you want.
Yeah, I support that because somebody could buy it and say, I'm gonna do something with it, and then pretty soon we've got a jungle growing there. Then we have to deal with that. Well, it's asset we're mowing it and maintaining it, but I also like the idea of open houses because how many times have we shown it? 20.
Wow.
That's a lot
Lot of time.
an hour at a time going down there and dealing one at a time. Just having fixed open houses is better than anything. So I recommend it.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, it's just, what venues you can advertise, because by putting that sign up, you got more activity there than you did in the RFP. So where are you gonna advertise?
I was gonna put it on the website. I was gonna probably share it on our Facebook page.
Okay,
It would really pain me to advertise it in the papers because I don't know the visibility that it might get at this point in the News Gazette, but I can do that if you all think that there's value to it.
I think that's what we did last time, wasn't it in the paper?
No.
I don't believe it was in the paper. We put it on Facebook and the website and stuff like that.
I think if you do
What-
that too, and then those of us that have those avenues can share it and ask our friends to share it and.
Yes, and please share it also, but I mean, if you have another suggestion for a different way that we can advertise it, I mean, I'm happy to put it in the paper. That's fine. Like I said, I don't know if that's the medium that people looking for properties are going to at this point.
I have a question. Under the proposal criteria, license continued, that last line is all proposals must, was there supposed to be more word in there? or did I miss it?
Probably, yeah, they're probably gonna be really fast.
Mhm.
I probably had a really good thought and I just.
Everything
I
is.
trained off.
And-
So, yeah, exactly. Let me see if I can get my frame of mind here again. Sorry, that's really embarrassing. But, yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. I must have just accidentally put it another, so I will delete that typo from the final version.
Or if you come up with it.
Or I have to think of it, yeah. I'm trying to, yeah, I can't remember what I was doing, if I was putting that together. But in terms of publishing this, if you have suggestions for where you'd like to see it, I'm happy to do that. As of this, those three spots that. And we'll have it up here at the windows when people come in, we can hand them the packet if they're curious and, you know, things like that, but. Do you have any suggestions for?
No, I thought you put it in the paper last time, so we didn't get much response, and it seemed like you put a sign out there and immediately you got people knocking your door, maybe not good, but I like the idea that you gotta have open houses show it. Instead of going ahead and it requiring time for each and every person to see what it is.
And then like the point of the open house that maybe one person look at it and it's too big for them to. Just do it themselves, but maybe you have people there that might strike up a conversation and maybe you guys sort of.
Synergy or something.
Center, yeah, so maybe that'll happen, we just don't know.
Okay.
Is there a motion? To issue the RFP?
I'll make a motion to issue the RFP.
Second,
Childers,
yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you. Consideration and possible approval of contract to sell property located at 101 Monroe Street to fitting room. Exhibit 6, we discussed this.
I got a question for Mark,
It's a separate attachment.
It's a separate. Here it is.
Yes, sir.
and that's on number 14 on the easement.
Yes, sir.
I got a little heartburn with that. I still think the best thing would be to go ahead and have it surveyed from where the gate is. They get the property gate east, we get a gate west. Nonetheless, on number 14, what do you think about inserting the language down there, the fourth of the premises, which could be used for non-permanent structures, be placed in this area?
This is granting, this easement is where, they buy the property. And then they give us back the right to do whatever we want inside our easement area.
Which would be from the gate west.
This was described or defined
That's what.
by an engineer.
That's what the engineer described in the legal description.
In exhibit B.
Yeah, so-
It's at the end of this, it's at the end of this agreement as an exhibit.
That's okay.
Like they,
Yeah. That's all the legal description. There's two easements. There's the one on the east side of the property, which is where the existing storm tile is. And then there's the one to the west side of the property. That's this kind of more broad.
So we're selling them exhibit A, that chunk of land, and then they're turning around and they're giving us exhibit B, which is the east 25 feet and the west 225 feet. Going along that legal description that the engineer drew up.
so where does that actually extend to?
I think our village administrator can tell you
It's-
that.
I showed him the gate
Mhm.
and I told him where, and I showed him on GIS. So from this gate all the way to the end of the property.
Okay.
That's what it's describing.
All right. The thing is, I'm concerned about heartburn for not necessarily us, but somebody down the road. What if, we wanted to do something, non-permanent structure, store some material equipment or whatever there, you know, could they preclude us from doing that? That's the reason.
No, we're gonna have a document that lets us do whatever the heck we want with the easement area. And then if they come along with an incredible development 30 years from now that needs to encroach in the easement area, they'd have to come get permission from us to be able to do it.
So there's gonna be another document to go ahead and clarify 14?
Yeah, there's two ways I can do 14. One is I can put an easement language in the deed that says, hey, we're selling you this tract, but for this part, we're retaining ridiculously generous easement rights.
Okay.
The other way that I think I'd rather do it is at closing, we'll give them a deed. They'll also sign this easement back to us, and then we'll record the deed first, then that easement afterwards. And that easement language, and this says we get to decide what that that easement language says. I'll just have very broad easement language, lets us do pretty much anything we want to do.
Okay, well, how come that wasn't included here? Is that something that's?
Because I've got about 15 million things to do. And I just got this stuff from the engineer
Okay.
and I wrote it up as best I could because I want to think through that easement document when I do it, and I don't want to be
We're all
rushed to
from
it.
the same wavelength that, you know.
We are.
Whatever we want.
And what I'd be happy to do is when I crank that baby out,
Mhm.
we'll email you a copy of it so you can see what I'm doing. And if you don't like it, you can call me up and
Okay,
tell me how to fix it and I'll make it
all right.
right.
Well, like I said, as long as we got carte blanche to do what we want, then I'm okay with it.
To your point, my MO is I usually just attach those documents to the document,
Mhm.
but I need to have the time to get my head around it and I didn't have it. A lot of people do it this way anyway.
Okay.
This isn't quite how I usually do it, but this works just fine.
Like I said, I'm just thinking for rent,
Yes, you are.
austerity, so.
Yep.
That's my concern. All right.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have anything? Their motion to enter into this?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to proceed with this. Second,
All right, Wolfersberger,
yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
All right, no business, but important business. Consideration and possible approval of the FY 26-27 budget, which starts May 1st. Correct?
So there were some things that were added in this from your last budget conversation. I also gave each one of you an updated version of the budget showing previous fiscal years. A couple of notes on this. The TIF fund is not established yet within our accounting software. I know this takes time to make sure it gets done correctly in the accounting software, but that's on the list. But the chart of accounts, which is what you all are looking at for your budget purposes, is included. And there's not a lot in there for this year, but it's a start, of course. But yes, other than that, I've added the items that we talked about. I have a corrected amount for the remaining SRF loan payments, and that's still high. But after talking with our engineer, it just makes sense to make it a little higher just in case. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but otherwise this is ready for your approval. This is just a framework, and the spending authority part of it isn't final with quotation marks until the appropriations ordinance is passed and approved. And if you approve this, then we will have the public hearing for the appropriations ordinance sometime in June.
I'd like, I don't know what page it's on, but it's 02-00421, the salary for the park and recreation. There's a position. I'm still unsure if we have funding on that, like that deleted. Stricken from the budget. The 65,000.
I'm opposed to striking it. We've discussed it. And it's gonna be part-time. We left that in there. To give us a maximum amount that we already talked about whether or not we would hire this person and start off part-time without benefits and see how it goes.
Well, I won't state for the record, I'm against it, and I'll vote against the entire budget for that one thing. So
Okay.
anyway, you know.
Yeah. Other than that, is there any other discussion? Pretty much all the discretionary things we talked about, keeping in or getting out or either out or in, so.
What did we end up deciding on the recycling center?
You gave.
That
We
is,
gave them some, or
it's under public benefits, which is,
It's in the second page.
it's over 3 years and it's $2,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
I think it's, yeah, a couple grand a year.
If it's under the public benefits. Yes, recycling center capital cost contribution pledge year 1 out of 3. We created a new line item for the animal control contract, of course, that's in there, it's new.
We didn't enter the planning document.
It's out, yes.
Yes, it's out, so.
but you put the digitization of the
It's up.
historical.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep our GLs more condensed because we created like GLs for one-off and stuff, so our other accounts is kind of messy. So it's under publishing. Currently, so we're publishing.
Yeah, but it's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. questions?
We heard a motion to approve the budget.
I make a motion, we approve the budget that's presented. Yes, I did it.
Yeah, Cummins,
Yes.
Rapp,
No,
Walsh,
yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-1.
Next up is village administrator updates.
I won't have the staff report out that's right now, but I'll send it out by email this week.
Village attorney,
No report?
Mike, anything?
Nope, I will have a statement of economic interest sent in before May 1st. I'm just. on that.
Everybody's got theirs done? Okay. I would like to, for the folks on Facebook land, thank our public works folks and Joe on the storm on Monday. The amount of work that was done with trees like the one across Main Street in front of Sanford's house and one at, looks like our zoning people got hit a lot. Javier's house got, mom took out a fence and I appreciate all the work that they have done and managed over the last 48 hours.
I canvassed around Price Lake this morning with my flashers on, when I was walking, so I couldn't see the lake in your backyard anymore, so I was hoping it was gone. Yeah, wasn't there a lake in your backyard last night? Your wife posted,
I was in the corner.
I was in the corner.
Yeah, that's our corner.
The front corner.
It was gone.
It was gone, yeah, because when I walked by, it was gone, so anyway, just wanted to let you know I checked.
There were
it
some
out.
that stood like that's kind of obstructed, you know, a couple of streets in town. It just takes time for it to drain down,
I
but
just had to walk in the street. So.
yeah.
Which is, just speak about stormwater, so this pipe that we're connecting to DD6, that just adds to our capacity. It adds to the amount of water that can get out, how quick it can get out. So that's, I guess, yeah, you know, things like the tweet are uncomfortable, but they're a good illustration of why it's important. There's just only so much pipe through the water, you know, more water than pipe.
Yeah,
There's a lot of rain in a short amount of time.
just shy of 3 inches in just a few hours, so they did pretty well. I appreciate their work. Anything else for the good of the village? Their motion to adjourn?
My motion to adjourn.
I got a question before you adjourn there. Did you ever get a definitive map on DD6?
It's shown on the map out there. I don't know what you're,
They showed, the email I got, he said he wasn't even sure where the exact was. Cause I thought it'd be along towards the river. And he put it up there, and he wasn't sure about the boundary of DD6. I just wanted to
be the taxing portion of it. Like, or who pays into it.
both. I'm looking at where it actually is. And then the taxing portion, I think it goes up outside the city limits, but I mean, I took it that he wasn't even sure where all the lines were for DD6 in that evening.
I don't have that.
Okay.
But I think emailing the county clerk and seeing if they have to, from the utilities to it. That might, but we have a line, we know where the line is. Basically. But I can ask the county clerk and see if they.
Well, I just couldn't come up about DD6, I was about to ask, but. I mean, I took the impression he wasn't even sure where all the tiles were.
Sure. Yeah, I have a, I think our map will show that.
All right, Matt, yeah.
One quick question, it's a point of clarification. On that ordinance that we approved involving the sale of the parcel. I had put a blank in for the sales price. And
25,000.
at 25,000, and so I'm just confirming for the clerk purposes of the clerk that that motion was intended to sell it at a price of $25,000. Okay,
Do we need a motion to affirm that or just?
no, I think we got
Affirmation.
nodding of heads that was what the motion
Yes.
was, so I want to make sure we clarified that. Okay, I'll shush up.
All right. We have a motion to
Motion to adjourn.
And second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ladies and gentlemen, great to see you all.
24 minutes.
Council.